Well, good morning, all. It's Monday morning, June 8th, for St. Andrew's morning meditation. Bill has been introducing these, and I really like the way he does it, so I'll try to remember to start that now. For you, Sandy, who are on the phone and can't do the screen share with us, what we have in front of us is a picture of it's a slight waterfall. It's what they call a step waterfall. It goes for about 20 feet and then steps down 2 feet, then goes for another 20 feet and steps down 2, as opposed to a big one like Niagara or something. But it's also a spring waterfall in that it's flowing fairly heavily. So I guess what we're going to talk about today is water. The Bible often uses water as symbolizing of faith, salvation, and provision. Water is essential to our physical living, just as Jesus is essential to our spiritual living. Below is a collection of scriptures about water that will renew your faith and encourage your heart to trust in God's provision. What I've done is I've taken two translations and we'll compare a couple of them together. One is from the New International Version Bible, and one is from the King James. And it's interesting the way the people have interpreted it. So from the New International, Psalm 42, deep calls to deep in the roar of your waterfalls, all your waves and breakers have swept over me. And the same passage in the King James, deep calleth unto deep at the noise of thy water spouts. All thy waves and thy billows are gone over me. So the New International Version says waterfalls. The King James says water spouts. The new version says breakers, and the King James Version says waves, which makes it an interesting concept. The second one is from Genesis. Oh, by the way, the only reference to waterfalls in any of the Bibles that I looked at was in the New International Version. King James talks about water spouts. Nobody else talks about waterfalls. But there is a lot of water reference. Genesis in the New International Version says, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And the King James says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So the New International talks about formless and empty. The King James talks about without form and void. They both talk about darkness. And they both, one says the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, and one said the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Another is from Isaiah. With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. The King James is, therefore with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation. So really the only difference there was in the language, the old language and the new. But again, the same idea of drawing water and getting strength and sustenance. And then from Samuel, he reached down from on high and took hold of me. He drew me out of deep waters. And from King James, he sent from above. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. So in the New English, he, and I'm assuming they're talking about God or the Holy Spirit, reached down from on high and took hold of me. While in the King James Version, he sent somebody to take hold. And he also, one drew me out of deep waters, and in the King James, he drew me out of many waters. So again, using the metaphor of waters and salvation, which I really like because I'm into waterfalls. What we have now, Sandy, is a picture. Again, it's a step waterfall, but this time the steps are about 3 feet long, and then they drop about 6 or 7 feet. So it's a steeper waterfall. It's not kind of a smooth flowing stream. It's steeper. Gives you the idea of strength and sustenance. And then the third that I'm going to show, I think, came from up in near Katahdin Ironworks. And it's, again, it's a waterfall in the background, drops about 8 feet, flows horizontally for probably 20 feet. And then there's another 10 or 12 foot deep waterfall. Again, the power of water, the smoothness and the calm and the center portion, and then the waterfalls themselves. First waterfall I showed.
Oh.
That's the one that's got a 2 or 3 foot step and a long horizontal run.
Yeah.
And then this is the one that's got the 4 or 5 foot step with a 6 foot drop.
That's gorgeous.
And this is the one that came, I think, again from up near Katahdin Ironworks. But they're all spring. You can tell that they're all spring waterfalls.
Mm-hmm.
So again, talking about water, the presence of God, and sustenance. And to close out, I will, because we're all here now, I will screen share. Okay. Because yesterday was Trinity Sunday, what I thought we would do is say together this prayer for the first Sunday after Pentecost, which was Trinity Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Almighty and ever-living, everlasting God, you have given to us your servant's grace by the confession of a true faith to acknowledge the glory of the eternal Trinity and in the power of your divine majesty to worship in unity. Keep us steadfast in this faith and worship, and bring us at last to see you in your one and eternal glory. O Father, who with the Son and the Holy Spirit live and reign, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
So may it be.
Thank you
Perfect.
for that.
Thank you.
Yes, the water both saves us and washes over us to renew us, and tumultuous maybe changes our direction. That the images I saw when you were sharing all that were just wonderful. So thank you.
Yes.
Not a problem. All right, so Sandy, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Bye now. Everybody have a wonderful day.
You also.